All right, guys, the time has come for me to read fourth grade Rats. And you know what that means? My babies, you are that close to becoming fourth graders, leaving my G203 nest and moving on. And I cannot let this year end without reading this story to you. So if I get a little emotional, hashtag sorry not sorry. I really enjoy reading this story as much as I enjoyed reading Third Grade Angels on our first day of school. So I hope you enjoy it. So sit back, relax, the screen's going black, and enjoy our story. We'll be reading it all this week. Here we go. Chapter 1, Rats Don't. First grade babies, second grade cats, third grade angels, fourth grade rats. It was the first recess of the first day of school. A mob of third graders had me and Joey Peterson backed up against the monkey bars. They were giving us the old chant. When they came to the word rats, they screamed it in our faces. Then they ran off laughing. I wish I was still in third grade, I said. Why? Said Joey. So I could still be an angel. Not me. He climbed onto the first bar. I waited 3 years to be a rat. He climbed to the next bar. And now I am a rat. He climbed to the top bar. He shouted over the schoolyard, and proud of it. I started to climb. My sneaker slipped on a bar, and I went down instead of up. The first thing I landed on was my hand. My thumb got bent back, way back. Pain! I howled as loud as I could. It still hurt. I kicked the ground, the monkey bars, the nearest tree. My thumb still hurt, and so did my foot. Only one thing left to do. I cried. Joey's voice came down from the high monkey bars. Rats don't cry. The bell rang to end recess. I jogged, sniffling, to the door. When I got there, Judy Billings was behind me. Like a miracle, the pain in my thumb disappeared. For me, there was no such thing as pain when Judy Billings was around. I loved her. I was sure that any day she would start to love me back. In the meantime, she mostly ignored me. But I kept trying. Judy was in the other fourth grade class, so I didn't see too much of her. When I did, I figured I had to make the most of it. That's why I held the door open for her. She went through. As usual, she ignored me. I didn't care. For 1 second, she was inches away. Heaven was a trainload of those seconds. A little while later, during silent reading, a spider crawled onto Becky Hibble's book. Becky screamed and flipped her book into the air. The book landed on the floor. The spider landed in my lap. The next thing I know, I'm on my desktop, tap dancing and yelling, "Get it off me! Get it off me!" On the way to lunch, Joey whispered came again. Rats don't get scared of spiders. We sat together in the lunchroom, just like last year, and we both brought our lunches from home, just like last year. We sat at our usual table. I opened my lunchbox. I was checking out my stuff when I heard Joey snickering. I looked up. He was wagging his head. His face was smirky. I looked around the lunchroom. What's funny? That, he said. He was pointing to at my lunchbox. What's wrong with it? I said. Ain't that the same one you had last year? Yeah, so what? He snickered again. Look at it. I looked at it. So? What do you see? I see a lunchbox. What do you see? A Martian? Guys, a Martian is an alien. He flipped the cover down. Look at it. What's on it? All over it. I looked again. Elephants? He broke out laughing. He pounded the table. His face was red. I had never known I could make him so happy. He tried to talk a couple of times. What? But he kept cracking up. Finally, he slapped his hand over his eyes and got it out. What are they doing? The elephants? Yeah. They're flying. This time, I thought lunch would be over before he stopped laughing. Other kids were looking over. Gerald Willis, the sixth grader, and a sixth grader and the school bully, threw a French fry at Joey, but that didn't stop him. I unwrapped my sandwich. I didn't have all day. At long last, he took a deep breath. He said, Right. Flying elephants, big flapping ears, doing yo-yos with their trunks. Some of them, I corrected him. Other ones have fishing poles. His cheeks bulged with laugh balls, but he swallowed them. Morton! He made himself serious. Don't you get it? Get what? Flying elephants on your lunchbox, man. That's little kid stuff. He picked up his paper bag. He wagged it in my face. This is what a rat brings his lunch in. I took a bite of my sandwich. What do I care? That's just it, man. You ought to care. He opened his bag. If you don't care, who will? Your mom probably got you that box, right? Yeah, I guess. Right. Moms. They just want to keep you a baby all your life. Suds, I'm telling you, you gotta put a stop to it now. If you leave it up to your mom, you'll be going off to college with a flying elephant lunchbox. I looked at my lunchbox. I'd had it since first grade when I was a baby, and glad of it. Most of the other kids broke their lunchboxes or lost them, so they got new ones every year. My lunchbox just kept on rolling. The elephants were fading, and some were even starting to look like hippos. But I loved my lunchbox. It was like a brother to me. Now that I thought about it, I wasn't even sure I could eat lunch. They probably mean eat lunch at school without it. And as for my lunchbox going off to college with me someday, well, to tell you the truth, I didn't see anything so bad about it. I looked at Joey. He was wagging his head and smirking again. Uh-oh, I thought. It's not just the lunchbox. Chapter 2, Real Meat. Okay, I said. Now what? He pointed. That! My sandwich? You're gonna eat peanut butter and jelly all your life? Why not? I said. I like it. I took another bite. He sneered. Yeah, right. I can see it now. You're in this big fancy restaurant with all these big, fancy, big shot business people, and everybody orders their dinners, and the waitress comes to you And you go, "Duh, I'll have the peanut butter and jelly sandwich, please." Right, Morton? They're really gonna be impressed. So what am I supposed to be eating? He laid his sandwich on the table. He opened it up. Bologna. Meat, Morton, meat. I eat meat, I told him. Real meat, Morton. Ever eat a steak? I thought about it. I don't know, maybe once. Ever eat a pork chop, a roast beef, a liver? I put my sandwich down. You're ruining my lunch. He looked proud. I ate a bite of liver last night. You're lying. Swear to God. You didn't get sick? Nope. How did it taste? I shuddered at the thought. He made a face. Terrible. Terrible? So why'd you eat it? You're stupider than I thought. Not as stupid as wanting to be an angel baby all my life. You want to grow up? You gotta eat stuff you don't like. And I'll tell you something else. He leaned across the table, getting real serious. It's an idea of mine. The worse it tastes, the faster you grow up. Now it was my turn to laugh. Yeah, right, Peterson. All I gotta do is find a dead skunk and eat it, and poof, I'll be 30 years old. He slapped his sandwich back together and took a chomp out of it. Forget it, man. You want to be a baby? Go be a baby. He went on chomping. I didn't feel like having a fight. I said, okay, maybe I'll ask my mom to make me a bologna sandwich one of these days. I don't care, he shrugged. Say, I said, where does bologna come from anyway? I was trying to picture a herd of bolognas roaming around on ranches. I never got an answer. The bell rang. We packed up our lunches. We didn't even get to eat most of them. As we headed out, I wondered if anybody was looking at my lunchbox. At the door, we bumped into Mrs. Sims. She was my third-grade teacher. I really liked her. She never exactly said so, but I think I was her favorite student. I hadn't seen her since school ended back in June. Suds Morton, she said. How's my big fourth grader? She held out her arms. One thing about Mrs. Sims, she gets physical. If she decides she wants to hug you, there's not much you can do about it. So I just walked into those arms and let them wrap around me. How are they treating you up there? She said. Well, the teacher's okay, I said. She backed off and looked at me. You mean something's not okay? I felt squirmy. Well, it's not as much fun being a rat. At first, she didn't understand. Then she got a big smile. Now, don't be so glum. Before you know it, fourth grade will be over and you'll be, what's fifth grade? Monkeys, I told her. Of course. Monkeys. You'll be a monkey. She hugged me again. She whispered, and don't forget, you'll always be an angel to me. She laughed and sent me on my way. In the hallway, I felt a hand on top of my head. Was Mrs. Sims following me? I turned. It was Gerald Willis, who was born a rat. His lips puckered. They were making kissy noises at me. Ooh, little Sudsy, my little teacher's pet. Where's my apple? Didn't you bring me an apple today? Before I could do anything, he swiped at my lunchbox. The cover sprang open and everything fell on the floor. My half-eaten peanut butter and jelly sandwich, my pack of pretzels, my cupcake, and my apple. I scrambled after the stuff on my hands and knees. Kids' feet were everywhere. Somebody crushed my pretzels. As I reached for the apple, a big, dirty sneaker kicked it down the hallway. Above me, Gerald Willis was howling. I was the last one back to the room. I stashed my lunchbox and sat down. A note was waiting for me from Joey. It said, "Swings after school." I looked over at him. I nodded. Chapter 3, Number 1. Our schoolyard had 2 tire swings. The tires hang on ropes from a bar. You just plunk your rear end on the tire and swing. Or just sit if you want. The tires hang almost to the ground so that the littlest kids in school can climb onto them. That's the situation me and Joey walked into after school. We were going to powwow at the tire swings, but 2 little kids were already there. They looked like first graders. "Guess we'll have to find another place," I said to Joey. "Guess they'll have to find another place," Joey said. He lifted one of the first graders out of his tire, plunked him on the ground, and sat in the tire himself. The first grader's face got red. His ears got red. "You rat!" he yelled. He nodded and smirked. "You got that right, kid." All eyes swung to me. Would I do the same as Joey? The kid in the other tire looked feistier than her pal. From the look in her eyes, you might have thought she was a 10-foot cat and I was a mouse. Nobody got a chance to see what I would do because suddenly the kid bolted, tore out of there, and left the tire swaying on the rope. I realized she may have looked feisty, but she was scared. The other kids took off too, but not before he yelled, "Rat!" and spit at me. Missed by a mile. First graders are not good spitters. "Sit down," said Joey. I sat on the tire. I don't feel right about this," I said. "About what?" "About kicking those little kids out." I kept seeing the girl's eyes as she ran. It was the first time anyone had ever been afraid of me, and I couldn't figure out how I felt about it. "Suds," Joey said. "Remember the 4th of July at the park?" "What about it?" I said. "The talent show?" "Yeah." "The bench?" "Huh?" Joey got off his tire. He stood in front of me. "The bench we were sitting on to watch the talent show that we didn't sit on for very long." "Oh, yeah." It was coming back to me. "Some kids kicked us off of it. 4th graders," he said. "They dumped us off. They lifted one end of the bench real high so you and me slid off onto the ground." I laughed, picturing me and Joey zooming down the bench like it was a sliding board. "Man, I forgot about that." "I didn't," said Joey. He wasn't laughing. "So," I said, "now that I'm a 4th grade rat, I'm supposed to go around dumping little kids off of benches? Is that it?" "There's more to it than that," he said. I started swinging. "I'm all ears." Joey got back on his tire. He matched his swinging to mine. "Suds," he said, "you're in 4th grade now, and that makes you a rat. Stop fighting it. It's nature's way." "I can fight it if I want." "Yeah? How?" I thought for a minute. "I'll do rotten in school. I'll do so rotten they'll have to flunk me back to 3rd grade." "Forget it, dude. You can't go backwards. Time marches on." I liked being an angel. Joey stopped his swing. He reached over and stopped mine. "Suds, you ant brain. Angels finish last. What did you ever get out of it, huh? Did anybody ever say, "Oh, thank you, Suds. You're so nice. You're such an angel"? Huh? Nobody ever said that. Not exactly, I had to admit. Your mother ever say, "Oh, Suds, you're such an angel. You don't have to clean your room anymore"? I guess not. Are you allowed to stay up late? No. Are you allowed to go anywhere you want by yourself? No. Are you allowed to say no to your mom? Course not. He poked my tire. See? That's what I'm talking about. I'm so glad you know what you're talking about, I said, because I sure don't. I'm talking about growing up, he said. I'm talking about not being an angel baby no more. I'm talking about taking care of number one for a change. I felt stupid, but I had to ask, who's number one? He pointed. You, dude! You're number one for you. I'm number one for me. Number one. That sounded good. Maybe there was something about this rat business after all. But what about crying? I said. Why can't I cry or be scared of spiders? He got off his swing. He faced me. He was dead serious. Because real men don't cry. What's men got to do with it? Before, you said it was rats that don't cry. That's right, he said. That's the whole point. Being a rat is the next step into being a man. You want to be a man, don't you? Sure, I guess. Well, he said, you can't be a man without being a rat first. He poked me in the chest. That's what fourth grade's all about. Except for us, the schoolyard was empty. Parents were calling their kids in to dinner. We headed home. As I walked up the driveway to my house, Joey said, "See ya, rat." "See ya," I said. Before I reached the door, he rushed back. He grabbed my arm. "Don't forget," he whispered. "Say no to your mom." And that's our chapters for today. Okay, go to Flipgrid. Bye, guys.